I'm comparing three sets of high-end binoculars against one another to see which one comes out on top. Now, these are not cheap binoculars. In fact, one of the brands in this test is over $3,500. Now you have to ask yourself, is this kind of price worth it for binoculars? If you're looking for premium quality in your binoculars, this is the place to start. My review on high-end binoculars coming up. Hi, I'm Terry Vanderheiden, professional photographer, and while I know my way around premium glass to create images with, I honestly didn't know a lot about binoculars until it came time when I wanted to get a new pair for myself. As a wildlife photographer, I'm always using binoculars just about every day. I use them to scout new areas, identify birds, and find my subjects for my next photograph. While I had a decent pair, I found that I was spending a lot of time looking through these and developed a little bit of eye strain. And I noticed that I was constantly having to only look through the center of my binoculars to see something reasonably sharp. Along the edges of the image was not that great. So to start my research, I spoke to hunters, and they opened my eyes to a whole new level of binoculars that I never even considered. And that's the high-end binoculars. Now today, I have three different binoculars here to look at, and all of them have their pluses and minuses. I'm looking at the Zeiss Compact HD 1042s, the Canon Image Stabilized 1550s, and the Swarovski NL Pure 1042s. So let's get into it. First up are the Zeiss Conquest HD 10x42s. These retail for about $800 and are very solid, but only weigh about 22 ounces. The field of view is about 345 feet at 1,000 yards. So you'll be able to see quite a bit as you look through these 10-power binoculars. Now, one of the special things that I like about these binoculars is they have a large eye relief, 18 millimeter eye relief. So as an eyeglass wearer, this is very important for me to have as large a possible eye relief as I can get. Now, if you'd like to learn more about eye relief or other things that you should be looking for before purchasing binoculars, check out my video on buying binoculars. I'll leave a link up here and then also leave it in the description if you want to go check that out. Now, the image quality of these Zeiss optics is very nice, and that'd not be surprising since they're Zeiss. The colors are true, maybe a bit warm, but still very nice and comfortable to view through long periods of time. The sharpness is fantastic, with a slight loss of sharpness on the outer edges. Very, very slight though. These binoculars do have nice coatings on the lenses. Zeiss calls theirs low-UTEC coatings. This coating is designed to wick away moisture, so if you're out viewing in damp or wet weather, the water shouldn't collect on the front elements. They also have the contrast and color control coatings on these lenses, as higher end binoculars will always have good coatings on their binoculars to keep the contrast up so you get better definition in all sorts of lighting conditions. A couple of weeks ago, I was hiking in some nearby hills, and I was hustling to the top of the hill, and when I got there, I was frankly a little out of breath. I know what you're thinking. How could somebody who is as physically fit as I am could ever get exhausted? Well, it can happen to the best of us. At any rate, I got to the top, huffing and puffing, and saw this red-tailed hawk shooting down this hillside. I whipped up my binoculars up to my eyes, and since I was out of breath, the view of the binoculars was all over the place. It really just wasn't a fun experience. So on my way back, I started thinking about the occasions when you're in, say, a moving vehicle or a canoe or a kayak, or just for some folks who shake a bit more than others, and they want to still use their binoculars without having the image jumping all over the place. So I thought, how about image stabilized binoculars? So my research led me to the Canon brand all-weather image stabilized binoculars. They're sold in two versions, 18x50 and 15x50. Since the 15-power binoculars had a wider field of view, that's what I went with. After you insert a couple of AA batteries into the bottom of the binoculars, you're ready to go. As you look through the lenses, because of the larger magnification, the image might be bouncing around a bit. But as soon as you engage the stabilization with this easily accessible button on top, everything comes to a standstill. It's really amazing. If you're active and want to view things without waiting for your body to cool down, these are for you. As we get older, some people can't hold binoculars as steady as they used to, and this is a perfect solution. The gyroscopes and electronics inside the binoculars bring the image super steady. Now here's an example of when you look through the Image Stabilized binoculars by Canon. Now, I used an adapter to attach my cell phone to the ocular lens and shoot when we engage the stabilization. This setup's not a great way to test for sharpness of binoculars, but you can see how the stabilized image comes into view when you engage the gyroscopes. I even tested these while driving in the car. Now, of course, I wasn't driving myself, but I had a friend of mine drive me around, and I hung out the window using these stabilized binoculars to see that it made everything rock solid. It really, really was pretty cool. Now, alkaline batteries should be used and can last up to about 2.5 hours, which at a glance doesn't seem like very long. However, with the on-off button so convenient, you only activate the electronics when you need to. I also think you can get lithium batteries that'll last like 8 hours or something. And this wasn't an issue for me, as I used the stabilization whenever I was looking through the binoculars, and it lasted lots of trips out and around. Now, one of the big questions most people ask about these are the weight. These come in at 42 ounces, so they were by far the heaviest of the lot that we tested. However, the image stabilization makes up for it with how well they perform. Now, eye relief comes in at 15 millimeters, which is less than ideal for eyeglass wearers. But if this is not a big deal for you, I don't see how you can go wrong with these binoculars. The cost of the Canon 15x50s were about $1,200. So you're paying for good, clear optics and coated lenses. If you're enjoying this kind of content, please take a moment to hit the like button. Then click subscribe, and remember to ring the little bell icon to be reminded of my next video. Now, if you like, feel free to send me your email address to terry@imagelight.com, and I'll add you to my mailing list and send you a note when I release a new video. In my conversation with others about binoculars, the one brand that kept getting mentioned was Swarovski. This is a very popular brand built for someone who has an eye for details. Now, first off, the most noticeable difference in these binoculars versus the others that we looked at is the price. The Swarovski NL Pure 1042s came in at just over $3,500. I had to get that out right up front. $3,500 for this binoculars. While that seems like a lot of money, keep in mind that these are legacy binoculars. If treated well, these binoculars will be passed on for generations to come. If you use these for the next 20 years, they'll become your most trusted piece of equipment for birding, wildlife viewing, and hunting. Heck, what is the cost of a hunting trip going to set you back? Having the best view of everything just might be worth it. Did I say the best? That wasn't a slip up. The optics on these NL Pures are unmatched by the other two we looked at. It has a clean, bright image from edge to edge. With the NL Pure line of binoculars, they boast the widest field of view over any other similar magnification. So these 10x42s will give you almost 400 feet at 1,000 yards, while other brands will give you about 340 feet at the same magnification. They also have a large eye relief of 18 millimeters, which is great for eyeglass wearers like myself. The quality of glass is frankly amazing. Edge-to-edge brightness on these NL Pures is better than anything I've looked through. Another add-on product that's available for the NL Pure from Swarovski binoculars is this integrated headrest. This attaches to the center focusing mechanism, then telescopes out to allow you to rest your binoculars on your forehead. While this sounds a little goofy, I found it increased the stabilization of these binoculars quite a bit. And it makes sense that it would. The headrest engaged, you now have 3 points of bracing contact, your hands and arms, and now your forehead. And this works extremely well. Along with Swarovski's terrific warranty and customer service, it can kind of take the sting out of the hefty initial investment. And if you like spending time watching nature through the best quality binoculars on the market, these are for you. Close focusing is another thing that I look for in binoculars. While hunters and bird watchers may not have a need for this kind of close focusing, I like to be able to sit and follow insects and butterflies and maybe dragonflies, and also check out the occasional reptile or amphibian. So both the Swarovski and the Zeiss can focus down to 6 feet, which allows for some great views of smaller creatures without disturbing them. All three of these binoculars are weather protected and can be used in the rain. However, the Swarovski can be dropped into water and be submerged down to 13 feet. Now, not that I would recommend dropping these binoculars into a creek or river, but it's nice to know if you can retrieve them, they'll still be working. The breakdown goes like this. If you want the very best in image quality and ruggedness, go with the Swarovski, as long as the price is not an object, because they do cost the most. Now, if you feel like you could use image stabilization in your binoculars, I wouldn't hesitate to go with the Canon All-Weather Image Stabilized binoculars. A press of the button takes away the shake and allows you to view more magnified subjects because of the electronics inside. Now, if you want to save a little money compared to the other two, then go with the Zeiss Conquest HT. They're terrific. You might give up a marginal amount of glass quality on the edges, but many people would rather save the money. So this is my roundup for higher priced binoculars. Let me know in the comments what you think and what you like. As with most things you buy, you get what you pay for. Knowing that good quality binoculars should last a lifetime, then the investment on one of these binoculars is a solid one. Until next time, this is Terry Vanderheiden. Thanks for watching.